What we've been doing at Havas is rethinking local marketing within community marketing. I think, right now there's a little bit of, when you're looking to target, there's a national plan, a local plan, and why is a local plan sitting on the side, and why are we still looking at it in terms of the reason we utilize local is because a company might only exist in a certain area, or you're trying to promote, a certain location. When you think about community marketing, like you're truly trying to tap into the community, the passions, the differentials, and from a national scale, you should still be looking at that to all the advancements in targeting and data and technology we've done. We're still having conversations about those separately. How do we look to tap into those audiences and truly create meaningful connections and authentically talk to people? We talk about context, connection, community, culture all the time, but then we still have these two separate conversations of, local media, and sometimes local media is still looked at as something that's a little bit older and not part of this advancement that we've had, but local media is truly the first targeted media we've had. So at Havas, we're trying to get away from talking about it in terms of local media and more community marketing.
And why has local buying become disconnected from the broader strategy? Is it that this range of looking at local media companies has been seen as islands off by themselves? Or?
Yeah, I think traditionally local media is thought of as geographic targeting, right? And you're looking at it across a DMA. And when you truly try to drill down into the communities within, I can use myself as an example. I just recently moved 4 miles from where I've been living in the last 15 years. Still a beach community, still people who have the same love of different things. The community itself is very different. Like you can tell the difference in passion, you can tell the differences in the people and just the things that are important to them. So I think when you're looking at it that way and you get past just the geographic location and you're truly looking at it at a street level, you still have that human expertise of all the folks who understand local and the importance. But when you can layer in that technology and where we are now, to get deeper, and I know that there's always the balance of hyper targeting and how deep do you want to go, but to understand at a street level the audience is there and the people and what's important to them, be able to talk authentically. I think that's truly important in terms of what we're doing in marketing, and not to sit here and hold those both separately.
So looking at geographic targeting alone, looking at the street level, geographic targeting alone is insufficient in today's landscape, as you've made clear. How can brands evolve beyond location to reach the communities people identify with?
Yeah, again, I think it's tapping into all the tools that we have. So it's beyond just the location and what's important within that location. Think about social media, right? And the importance of social media. And ultimately, social media becomes word of mouth. And when you're thinking about within a community and people who truly engage with one another and are talking to each other, like the power to be able to have that word of mouth by tapping in to authentically talk to somebody instead of just making it in terms of, a little bit broader of, oh, you live in this location, so you must love this. To be able to truly tap in, like I said, 4 miles away, that's not very far, and there's a very different opinions and different desires and different ways of living within just like that radius. So why are we not going a little bit further there to continue diving into it? For us, it's at Havas, we've always been about meaningful experiences and meaningful connections, and this is just the next layer of getting there. And for me, if a friend tells me, hey, this product is great, this store is great, I'm gonna go check it out. And to be able to tap into a community and do that, I think that is, where we need to go in terms of stopping thinking of local, national, and thinking about it as a community.
Going down to that process that you and Havas use to get at that kind of hyper nuanced approach, how do you identify growth opportunities, mapping audiences, analyzing monocultures? How does that go about?
We've advanced all of our planning tools. Obviously this starts within strategy, it starts within your planning tools, and then, to your point of it's looking at the opportunities, the growth opportunities there, because again, it's another layer of folks that we might not be reaching and talking to. And then in terms of mapping the audiences, it makes you think differently about how you're engaging with them, because you're understanding more of what's important to them, and to be able to reach out and get that message across in a way that's going to resonate more. And then being able to dive into those microcultures to again continue to understand a little bit more and more about what they're passionate about. You think about the United States, it's a very diverse country, and there's many different, passion points, there's many different languages, there's many different, again, like, look at the power of local sports. You look at the passion that people have behind that, and just looking at that broader, I think we just kind of get stuck in ways of the areas that we think local is important to us, but on that community level, I think there's just so much more that we can do there.
And lastly, how and maybe why, I think you've explained the why, but how should brands adapt to the evolution of this notion of community marketing?
I think it's thinking a little bit differently, and it's moving away from what we think local is, and we think it's just local linear, local radio, and understanding we're all looking for audiences, right? We have all of the power of the data, the technology, the targeting, and why is that sitting separate from the local conversation? So I think, it's a client, especially if you're on a national scale, of understanding you might not think local is important, but getting that messaging in more of a targeting way, it's just the difference of thinking it, because I think it really can continue to promote and find you those new audiences that you might not be tapping into, and being able to speak to a new audience and that growth audience that we're looking for in a different way, and truly, finding those ways of being authentic in when you're talking, right? It's not just that generalized, oh, you live in this geographic location, so you must love this. And I think that that's really important to brands, because I think brands are looking for those meaningful connections and the way to truly speak to people in a way that's going to engage and resonate with them.
And last question, the role of AI and planning tools in understanding these communities, these local markets. AI is everywhere. We're constantly all talking about it. But what do you see as the role for AI in planning tools and enhancing planning tools to help brands reach?
Again, I think it's allowing us to get smarter. It's allowing us to decision quicker. It's allowing the planning tool to be a stronger element, and also just within activation too, right? Like when we're talking about speaking to people in authentic ways, like think about creative and everything that AI can do there in delivering things, and contextual targeting. You're talking about trying to engage an emotion and finding people in the right place at the right time to send a message to, and AI can help you through that, from the planning, the strategy process, to the planning process, activation, and straight through measurement. So I think there's just so much more that we're going to continue to be able to do there, and we have all the tools in front of us. So to us, the community marketing is truly a way that we really think we're going to be able to push brands to the next level.